All right, what's up, guys? Vivi back with another video. And in today's video, guys, we're gonna be kind of all over the place. We got a lot of fun stuff to talk about, a bunch of fun games to check out, and all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and just dive right into this, guys. I'm gonna give you a quick layout of what we're getting into. But today's gonna be more of a chill video, no specific direction or no crazy, comprehensive deep dive or anything like that. So first things first, we are gonna head over to the lab. Excuse me, we're going to be checking out a game of Smoker versus Black Yellow Luffy. Okay, that should probably be a pretty interesting game. So we'll check that out first. Then we're going to go discuss the topic of the day. The topic for today is 4 life leaders. Okay, we have a lot to talk about. That was one of my original complaints in the game of how they chose to balance dual-colored leaders, but we'll get to that shortly. Okay. After that, we will head over to the sim. We've got 3 games lined up, one for each of the leaders you see on the screen here. A game of yellow Yamato, purple yellow Pudding, and green yellow Arlong. Not necessarily in that order, but we will be checking out a game of each. And then we will finish up with the deck list, and I'll give you guys my final thoughts and all that good stuff. Okay, guys, you know what you get into. I'll have everything time-stamped in the general description. I'll have all relevant deck lists and links down in the comment section below. And yeah, if you guys have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please don't hesitate to ask. Now, let's dive straight into this video, guys. Let me adjust my camera real quick, because first things first, we got to check out a game on the lab, or the VV lab for the day. For any of the new listeners out there, what is the VV lab? Excuse me. Well, essentially, this is a community-submitted game, and it works as like a miniature coaching session where new players typically, or even intermediate level players, will submit their gameplay to me to review, and then I kind of give my analysis of the game. Okay, so if you're interested in me reviewing one of your games, and notice it's completely, you can't see the names. It's totally private, totally anonymous. If you're interested in me reviewing one of your games, it's very easy to do. It's basically a 3-step process. First thing you need to do is record your gameplay. Second thing is upload it to YouTube. And then once you've done that, hop on the VV Theory Discord. And the link to my Discord is in the channel description. And then I have a channel called Review My Game. And once you've, like I said, recorded the game and uploaded it, just put the link over in the Review My Games channel. And as soon as I see it, I check it every day, guys, multiple times a day. As soon as I see it, I give it the thumbs up emoji, and then you get thrown in line. And whenever it's your turn, you're up, okay? Very easy to set up. If you have any questions on it, please do not hesitate to ask in the comment section or on the Discord. If you want to reach me, in Discord, that's the best way to get a hold of me. Okay? All right, now let's go ahead and hop into this game. We got a game of Black Yellow Luffy versus Smoker. Now, real quick, let me make sure the volume is off, the quality is as high as it will go, and the speed is on 2x. Okay, let's do this, guys. Now, for those who might be wondering, I do not pre-watch these games, so I have no idea how they're going to go or anything like that. It's just a total blind reaction. So the Black Yellow Luffy player is going to start off with a GARP search. I do need to see what they got, though. Okay. Okay, so we chose to not get the Sabo. So I think the logic there, and again, I have no idea. I've not talked to this person who submitted it, but I believe the logic in not getting the 5-cost Sabo in this situation was that there were 2 2-cost Luffys in here. So just in case they don't find another one, they'll at least have one soon. But I will say this, guys. This is for me personally. Nothing takes priority over the 5-cost Sabo for me personally when I'm playing Black Yellow Luffy. I do get the 2-cost Luffy, like I said, because who knows when we're going to see another one. But it's a chance that I would be willing to take personally, because as soon as we start going through those Sabos, you start going through that deck pretty quickly, guys. You start going through it pretty quickly. Not a play mistake though. That was more of a preference thing. I just always prioritize the Sabos over the Luffys. Okay, all right. So here we go. So we did the GARP search. That's an excellent way to start it off. That's how you want to start your game off with Luffy. Okay, Smoker's going to start with a brand new search. They reveal a Tashigi, 2K counter Tashigi. Okay, and speaking of which, Smoker now has a really good answer to Sabo, now that it has the 5-cost Tashigi from ST19. Playing out the GARP, and let's see this search as well. Okay, now we're entering very scary territory. They did not get another Sabo. Instead, they got the 5-cost Luffy that's going to be able to pop a 4-cost or less character when we're at 2 or less life, and it draws a card. So hear me out. There is no... Now, this is just my personal opinion. You could probably talk to a pro player or something. They might have a different opinion. But I have put a lot of time and effort into playing Black Yellow Luffy and mastering it as good as I can. And there is no more important character in the entire deck than the 5-call Sabo. It's as important as your Gecko Moria, because if you don't have that 5-call Sabo, your Gecko Moria is not bringing back a blocker, and you're probably just going to get cracked on. You're probably just going to get run over on the crackback unless you can keep one life going. Anyway. So, real quick, that's the second time we've seen a Sabo go away in the top 5 cards. Hopefully we can find one in our life or coming up soon here. Whew, okay, that's scary. Guys, that, again, like I said, I've put a lot of time into Black Yellow Luffy, and seeing 2 Sabos go in 2 searches, that's very, very scary to me. Okay. So they go ahead and play out the Brook. They're going to pop one of our characters. They're not going to attack into us. That's very common. For any of the newer players out there, it's not normal to attack into Black Yellow Luffy because they want to go down to 0 life as quickly as possible, and then they can start getting major advantage. Swinging 6 into 4, they'll probably give us the blocker, I would assume. Yeah, that was the right call by them. And right here, okay, we set the top card as this Luffy, and now we're going to start... pause. So I actually think we could have used the effect right away, because if I'm not mistaken, if I'm the Smoker player, there's no way I'm letting that card survive. So I actually think, did we use it? Actually, we might have used it. No, we didn't. So what I was going to say was, I would have actually used the 5-cost Luffy's effect to go down to 2 life and drawn a card from that. To Shiga, yeah, I was going to say, there's no way this card survives. If that card would have survived, this would have been a very quick game. Let me just say that. I think it would have probably been a really rough game. But going down... See, okay, now they're at least attacking in. And hang on. Did we defend? Hang on a second. So they swing it for 7, and we're defending. Okay, pause. So we want to go down to 0 life as Black Yellow Luffy. They basically gifted us 1 card from our life. It was fine trashing the card you did, even though that card... So, okay, no, I'm sorry. We do have to talk about this, guys, real quick. And don't worry, I'm not trying to be too critical, but we do need to bring up the accuracy meter. So countering out of that attack was, in my personal opinion, a blunder. It would be at least a mistake, but I think it was probably borderline blunder. Because watch this. Thought exercise with me. Everybody pay attention real quick. If they swing in for 7 here, right? So they swung in for 4. We don't have to counter out of the 4K. They swing in for 7. If we take this, we go down to 2 life. Then we can use the 5-cost Luffy in our hand to pop that Brook, and then we can keep attacking into their face. And that's one more thing I did want to say about last turn. Attacking into the Brook is not necessarily the best target. We actually just want to always attack their face. Now, they had a blocker. It didn't matter for the first attack. But the point is, we don't care about their board. That's why we run the 5-cost Rocket Boots Luffy here. We just want to go face, face, face. Because, hey, we're on a clock as well. As soon as we run out of cards in hand and we run out of Gecko Morias to bring cards back, we start getting in a lot of trouble ourselves as Black Yellow Luffy. So watch what happens here. We 1K counter out with the Luffy that we actually would have wanted to probably use this next turn. Because if they swing in for 7 into 7, that's fine. Thank you very much, right? We go down to 2 life here. Now our Luffy's turned on, and we can play out the Luffy, popping the, excuse me, their removal, popping their Brook, and then we get to draw a card, and then we get to attack in the face, next turn, and don't worry about the Brook. And look what the card is that we draw for the turn. I'll go ahead and move the accuracy meter now for you guys. Look what we drew for the turn. We draw a Gecko Moria. Very nice. So now, let's see. It looks like we're going to play out the, we're going to play out the Kuzan, and there's an Ice Age. So the Ice Age is what we would have actually drawn for the turn if we had popped the Luffy, right? Well, excuse me. We would have still drawn the Gecko for the turn, but then we'd have played out the 5-cost Luffy, popped the character, and kept attacking. And did we just attack the Brook? Okay, we did. We did attack the Brook. Okay, so guys, again, that is not... I've mentioned this before. Black Yellow Luffy doesn't care about protecting its life until you start getting cards face up. If you have a face up card in your life, remember, if you take a damage while your card is face up in your life, per the text on the leader, that card goes to the bottom of the deck. You don't get to draw it. You don't get to trigger it. You don't even get to interact with it with cards that would add it to your hand like Flampe. So, but in this case, our cards are face down. So we actually want to take these early hits and go down in life as quickly as possible so we can start gaining the 2 life that we want to start using our 2-cost guys. I know this is a little bit technical, and I will link my Black Yellow Luffy comprehensive guide in the comment section below, because this is a very, very technical leader to play. Okay, I'm going to try not to pause too much. This is actually a very long game. Okay? All right, so let's see what happens. But, guys, that was a very rough way for us to start off the game, because we're down to 5 cards in hand now. You know what I mean? So that does kind of hurt us a little bit. Okay, they're going to play out the jack here. Yep. They're going to swing for 5. We're going to take that. Excellent. Yeah, we want to take those. We absolutely want to take those. Now we have the 5-cost Luffy, the one that buffs. Okay, let's see what happens here. Yeah, so in this situation, we've already gotten rid of 2 Sabos, so we can't play out our Sabos to protect us and draw cards. It looks like we're just loading up and going into the jack. Okay, 14 and 8. That probably was not the worst play there. I will say if you're going to try to take out a character, taking out the jack does make some sense, because once they start having the 8,000 power, 9,000 power bodies on the board, those are very dangerous for what our game plan is. But 3-cost characters, those don't really matter. And especially, Pauls, I'm sorry, guys, I got to say one more thing. I know I'm really, I'm trying to really hammer this point home. The reason we can just ignore the Brook is if we had gotten those Sabos, remember, we cycled over 2 Sabos. If we could have kept those Sabos, Brook is literally nothing against us. Please attack into us with the Brook so we can start drawing cards from our life, getting down to 0 life and start comboing with our Gecko Moria. Okay, here we go. So they swing in for 5. And did we just counter out? Hang on a second. So what just happened there? Hang on 1 second, guys. They swung in for 5, and we're countering out again. Okay, well, I guess we probably have to now. We actually do have to counter out now because our life is very low. But, guys, understand that we're getting... We are absolutely getting controlled right now by this Smoker player. Notice they didn't attack with anything else. They said, okay, yeah, you have to respect my board now because you have 2 life. Because you're letting them go wide enough where it's like, okay, now we have to respect their board. And right here, all right, yeah, now we're attacking in a brand new. So this is a nightmare situation. I don't know how we're supposed to climb back at this point, but we'll see. Black Yellow Luffy is a very resilient deck. Okay, let's see if we can climb back. Let's see if we can find some cards we need. Okay, so they're going to play out, what was that, a Gecko Moria, bringing back Rebecca, bringing back brand new. They drew a Borsalino. And then they, they drew a Hina from the trash with Rebecca, and they drew a Borsalino with the brand new, and they're going to replace the brand new with the Rebecca's effect with that new Hina. I think they just want a character on the board. I don't think they really care about KOing this character, because we're in trouble here. Nice, we did get a Searcher. Okay, no Sabo. No Sabo is no Sabo, no good, right? That's no bueno. We really, really want a blocker right now. And their hand size is so large at this point that they might be sitting on a 5-cost Tashigi waiting for us to get a 5-cost blocker now. Okay, so we did draw a card. Very nice. And now we can start gaining life. So now we're ready to do... how did we do... Makino. I was going to say, how did they let us get away with that? Perfect. So we played out the Makino, doing what we had to do, drawing the last life card. Now we can start adding cards to our life from our trash using the leader's effect by attaching 2 Dawn. And we do have some 2-cost guys to cheat out. But notice this. We have a 2-cost Sabo in hand, but we don't have any Sabos in our trash. We already got rid of those. Hopefully we find more of them soon. Okay. Here we go. Now, we forgot to buff the Luffy as well. Hang on 1 second, guys. This is a very, very technical deck, like I said. So let's go back to the beginning of this turn real quick. Okay, playing out the Makino. I do... Well, hang on. Let me see something real quick. Wait a second. Did they leave us at 1 life? So they stopped attacking right here, right? And left us at 1 life and did not KR Luffy? Okay, so there's a play mistake we have to talk about. You don't need to use the Makino here. I'm sorry, guys. I got a little bit sidetracked. We shouldn't... This is a play mistake. We should not be using Makino here. We have Luffy on the board, the 5-cost. He could have eaten that last life card. We saved the 2k counter. He becomes an 8,000 power body. And then we can go about our turn literally like an 8 Dawn... a 10 Dawn Gecko Moria turn. A very strong turn coming from this. But because we did it in this order, where we did not use the Luffy first, and we lost a 2k counter... Excuse me. I'm like spitting everywhere right now, guys. But we lost a 2k counter in taking the life. This is a really, really bad situation for us to be in. Okay, I'm so glad whoever submitted this, guys, because there are some mistakes we can really learn from here. We should never be, like, too critical about someone, like, we should never, like, attack them for the mistakes, but we can really learn from some of these plays going on. So trashing the Ice Age, I'm okay with that. I think that was probably the right call, and then we can add this to, add those 2 to our life, but we can only use the 1 card here. Now, hang on. we only, excuse me, what I was trying to say is we only have one 2-cost Luffy, and we can only use that one to bring 1 life into play. But that's not bad. We still have, you know, 7,000 power leader and 2 life. We don't have a blocker, so that's a little bit scary. However, what we can do now is we can KO that Kuzan with our Luffy. Okay, let's see what happens here. And remember, we're at 7,000 power. Okay, so that card should be 8,000 power. We did mess up our sequencing. It happens. You know, that was a mistake, but that's okay. Now we're talking. 11 at face. I love that. Swinging in for 9. No, not into the body, though. They should probably just let this go. Yeah. So they were very happy. Understand real quick from your opponent's side, when they saw you attack into the Hina, they were like, awesome. Really good. Really good that he attacked into Hina, because now they can save the Rebecca for a future attack. They don't care about losing characters as much as long as they can keep these 7K and 9K hits going. They would much rather you attack into their board than their life, because they don't get to gain life. We get to gain life. As Black Yellow Luffy, they don't get to. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, and that's one thing I've mentioned before. You really, really want to just attack face, attack face, attack face when it comes to Black Yellow Luffy, and use your Rocket Boots Luffy to pop what you don't want on the board. Like this Kuzan. Oh, gosh, guys, I just skipped over that as well. We didn't KO the Kuzan with our 5-cost guy. So now they can do whatever they need, potentially whatever they need to do here to KO our board by attacking for 7 with Kuzan and doing -4 to the cost of the character they want off the board. Let's cash in on these cards when we can, because if they pop our 5-cost Luffy, that is really bad, right? Because we could have gotten a free draw from it and removed their 4-cost 5K body. Okay? All right, let's see what happens here. Excuse me. Okay, just waiting for our opponent here to pick what they want to do for the turn. Playing out a Borsalino. Now they have 2 blockers. That's very relevant. Swing for 7. Okay, looks like we can just 1K out of that. Perfect. Then they'll probably load up for 2 more. Swing for 7 on the Kuzan. So let's see if they choose to do the right play. I'm going to tell you guys what the right play is. You load up 2 on Kuzan, swing for 7. You load up 1 on Tashigi, swing for 7. And you swing for 9 with the Gecko Moria. That's just the correct play. There's no way around it. Because trying to save the Kuzan at this point is impossible. We have a character on the board that can remove it. So you just cash in on the value immediately. And if they want to remove your Rebecca, okay, they're going to do that anyway too. So let's see what they choose to do here. Whoops. I don't know. Maybe they really want to remove. Okay, they really want to remove that. That was so odd to me. So I still think that was a play mistake, because there's no reason to worry about that Rocket Boots Luffy after you swung, right? Like if the Smoker had already swung in for 7 with that guy, with the Kuzan, because he replaced it anyway. He couldn't even save it now, right? So if he had just done what I said, just just swing for 7 with the Kuzan, because he had 3 Dawn left, swing 7, that's going to be a card out of hand or a card from life, swing 7 with the Tashigi with the one remaining Dawn, and then swing 9 with the Gecko. Number 1, I think they might have just won the game. No, excuse me, we'd have probably been able to just barely survive, but that would have done a lot of damage to their hand. Okay. All right, here we go. It's time for Gecko Moria, and we have 2 Luffys in the trash. Really good. That's really good. Okay. And let's see what we decide to do here. Let's see if we do this in the correct order. So watch what'll happen here. Yep, so we'll play out the Gecko Moria. Excellent. Grab back the 2 Luffys, because we don't have a Sabo still, guys. We got rid of the only 2 we saw. Like, we only saw 2 Sabos. We got rid of them. Okay, gonna play out the Garp. That's probably not the worst call in the world, but I'd have rather gone to 9,000 power this turn. So real quick, what we could have done there, I mean, unless I missed something. Let me check the trash one more time. Okay, let's see when they showed it. Here it is. So yeah, we do have 2 Luffys in the trash, and 2 of the 5-cost and 2 of the 2-cost. So what I would have done in this situation, we have a Luffy in life already. What I would have done here is I would have played out the Gecko Moria, replacing the Hiyori and the Machina. Well, we wouldn't have to do that, excuse me. So just play out the Gecko Moria and put the 2-cost Luffys into play. We'd have to replace one of the cards, replace the Machina, I guess. It doesn't matter. Then we would use one of the Luffys, whichever one was rested, just for to play it technically correct. Use the one that's rested to cheat out this 5-cost Luffy in our life. Then we attach 2 to our leader. Use the 5-cost Luffy first on both of them to gain plus 2,000 power, just so they're just number 1 for good practice, and number 2 so we can swing with the one we have on the board. And then we'll attach. Like I said, we attach the 2 down to our leader. Refill these 2 Luffys in our Actually, we could trash the Luffy in our hand, the 5-cost buff Luffy. We could trash that one in our hand to fill up our life with one of those and get another one into play if we need to. Like, you know, there's a few different ways we could have chose to do the Luffys, but we could have gained 9,000. We could have gone to 9,000 power this turn and still had a life left. But instead, we choose to go with the Garp plus a Luffy. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit back to where we were. So they chose to get the Garp, or excuse me, the Luffy and the Garp. And we actually did that in the incorrect order as well. We should have done the Garp standing and the Luffy rested because we're going to use that effect anyway. Okay. So we got a Sabo. Very nice. Sorry, I totally missed that, guys. We did get a Sabo. Excellent. All right, right here is where you use your Luffys, the 5-cost Luffys. Buff both of them real quickly. Okay. Yep, nice. They remembered. Excellent job. Excellent. That is hard to remember, guys. That is very hard to remember. They should give us a Rebecca here. Okay, they gave us a 2K, and they'll use Rebecca on this attack. Very nice. That does make a lot of sense. That does make a lot of sense. Whew. Okay, that was dangerous putting Sabo on top, guys. That was very, very dangerous putting Sabo on top. I would have just loaded up 2 Luffys in the trash and just let him have them. If he wants to get rid of one, that's fine. But we are 7,000 power, and we do have 2 life. Okay, see, now we have to talk about the Smoker. Smoker is more concerned with going for the board right now when they actually could potentially have lethal because we're only a 7,000 power leader. And if they connect one time, we lose the only Sabo we had access to, right? They have 3 life. They have 2 block. Well, they had 2 blockers. They used one. They still have a blocker. So I don't understand why they're trying to go for the board. Okay, I got to speed it up, guys. This is going to be a really long, VV lab. 8 into 8. Yeah, save that. I do agree with that. Like, make him swing with everything here. Okay, well, I would let it go now. I'd probably let it go now. Yeah. And then they don't swing. Guys, that was the craziest thing I've ever seen. So why would Smoker not swing for 9 here to force those cards out of your hand? Because we were at 7,000 power. Okay, beautiful. And we top decked to Gecko Moria. Okay, this game is really going in the way of the Black Yellow Luffy player. They might be able to pull this off, guys. I have no idea. But this is excellent for us. This is really good for us. Look at this. Okay, absolutely. Play out the Sabo, draw 2, trash 2. Now we're cooking. Okay, now we're cooking, guys. Now that we have the Sabo, this is looking really good. Yep, play out the other Luffy. Perfect. Now buff the Luffy. Nice. You see him doing that? Excellent. He buffed the Luffy. And now, excuse me, we still have our leader effect for the turn where we can gain 2 life. Okay. Don't forget to attach 2, but it's not going to matter here, I guess. Well, it might. Let's see if they block in 2K. No, they don't. Okay, so we'll attach those 2. We'll trash this card. Just add whatever to the top of your life now. This part almost doesn't even matter anymore because this might be like our last turn or one of our last turns because we just don't have any more cards in hand. Okay, this is getting pretty exciting. I thought this was going to be a blowout at first. I thought the Smoker was just going to run away with this one, but they made some massive play mistakes. All right, so I've been saying this. I know that I just feel like they've been playing it, holding it to Shigi this entire game because they could get rid of the Sabo with the effect. Let's see if they actually have been doing that, or maybe they just didn't draw another Tashigi. Because that's what I was going to say about Smoker now. Now that they have that really strong answer against Sabo in the 5-cost Tashigi that trashes characters. Okay, there it is. And they're going to trash the Gecko Moria. Man, I am so perplexed by the way that this Smoker player is playing. Like, I would just be so much more aggressive. And now it's getting a little bit late to be aggressive. You know, like, now they are up against the ropes. They had all these opportunities that I feel like they missed out on. 8 into 8, absolutely. We'll counter out of that. 8 into 8. I would give them the 2K here, probably. Okay, all right. So, 9 here. We'll block out. And, okay, what are we going to do now? I think we countered out a little too aggressively there. Okay, very nice. Play out the Kuzan. We have 2 2K counters. We still have 2 life, so we can go for this board very aggressively here. Nice, using the Luffy to trash one of them so that we can draw a card. But at the same time, now we'll have to use a Flaw and Pay here to clear up our life. And we won't get to draw a card from it either. So watch what happens here. Take the top life. We don't get to draw a card because it was face up, and that is on the rules for Black Yellow Luffy only. It's actually on the leader text. We can't draw that card. Okay, so now we don't get to draw the other card either because it failed. But that's okay. We'll fill up the top of our deck with 2 cards. Putting the Sabo there. Okay, all right. Here we go. We're going to swing 10 into 9. They should block this or at least counter. Yep, okay. I would have countered if they could, but I guess they have no counter power. And let's see what they choose to do here. We're at 5,000 power. They're going to just go for it, right? Guys, we are at 5,000 power like for our leader. We have 1 card in hand. Swing for 7. Yeah, we can't get out of this. I think this is game over. We just don't have a way to get out of this, right? Because they're swinging for, okay, so yeah, 7, 9, whatever, 15, or 12. GG. That was a really, really good game, guys. Let me go back and pause right here. I'm going to pause right on. Let's see what they had in their hand. And right here. And awesome. Okay. Oh, wow. 2 Stussies and a Gecko Moria. Guys, that was an awesome, awesome game. I feel like there was so much to learn from that. And I love when we get submissions like that where there's so much to talk about. Starting off early. So I have 2 things to say. One to the Black Yellow Luffy player and one to the Smoker player. If they're even listening. Who knows if they're actually listening or not. But real quick, or if you find yourself in the position of either of these players, the searches for Black Yellow Luffy, the most important searches, in my experience, is that card right there, the Sabo, the 5-cost Sabo on the far left of the screen. That card is of utmost importance because once we start cycling through our deck with the Sabos, it gets real crazy real fast. And even though they have Tashigi to pop our character, think about what that does. The times we're playing out Sabo, we're probably going up to 7,000 or 9,000 power. Well, they're going to have to use 5 Dawn just to get rid of that one character. And guess what? We're bringing it back next turn. How many Tashigis are they going to draw each game? This guy drew 2 of them, but we also got rid of 2 of them. You know what I mean? We could have gotten like way more value earlier in the game by playing those out. That's the first thing. Let me say a few more things for the Black Yellow Luffy situation. We don't want to counter out too early. We want to go down in our life very aggressively, and then we can start gaining the life back, filling out the board, and going with our Gecko engine, okay? Now, for the Smoker player, they still won, but there were times here where they were playing so passive, I didn't quite understand what was even going on, especially in this situation right here. So look at this situation we're in as Black Yellow Luffy. So right here, this was the turn that I had the most problem with because they have 3 Dawn left. They can swing 7, 7, 9, and they still have 2 blockers. So if they try to go into the board aggressively here, we can Rebecca and Borsellino if we need to as Smoker. And they actually probably could have won the game on this turn right here because let's see what happens. If we swing for 7, we have to give them a 1K counter. If they swing for 7, there's another 1K counter. We only have 1 left in hand. They swing for 9. They lose the top card of their life. And look at that, guys. They lost so many cards in hand. They would be down to 3 cards in hand, and that's when Luffy starts to really struggle. And speaking of this turn, guys, there was so much that happened here. Why not just use the Luffy here to pop the characters on the board and draw a card and keep your momentum and all that good stuff? Either way, really good game. I don't want to be too overly critical, but that was a really good game, guys. Good stuff. Okay, now give me just a second to get set up, guys. We're going to head over to the topic of the day. Go ahead and straighten my head down a little bit. All right. I'm getting used to this, guys. Don't worry. I'm starting to feel more and more comfortable with this new setup we got going here. Okay, let me do this, and this. All right. So, we have to talk about 4 life leaders. Topic of the day, balancing the 4 life dual color leaders. That is the topic of the day. Almost got it right where I want it. There, close enough. So, let's go ahead and look at the most recent results. This is over on Eggman's website. I'll link this down in the comment section below as well. Eggman Events. It's a great resource for One Piece players. He has all kinds of stuff. First of all, he has a deck builder on there. I have not messed with this yet. But he has a deck builder. He has event coverage for all these different Bandai. I think these are all Bandai games, I believe. I'm not exactly sure. But he also has, if you go to the homepage, check this out, guys. Let me go to One Piece, though. If you find One Piece, look at this, One Piece events. And he has this breakdown of all of the different events from like OP08. And you can go straight down the list and check out all the results and all the deck lists for like the winning decks and things like that. Like, look at this. Here's a 9-0 Jewelry Bonnie list. And if you click on the list, look at this, guys. It brings stuff in the deck builder. Such an incredible resource, guys. Make sure you're familiar with this website if you really plan on sticking with One Piece and know what's going on there. I'm sure most people already know about this website, but I just want to make sure for any of the new players out there. Now, let's talk about some 4 life leaders. I'm going to pose a question to you guys up front. Excuse me. Do you guys think that the 4 life stipulation on being a dual color leader is fair? Now, let's not talk about the exceptions with like Red Purple Luffy's a 3 life leader, but that's 6,000 power. Let's keep to the 5,000 power dual colored leaders because even Enel is not a good example because Enel has bare minimum 5 life, right? Because after the first time you attack through their life, they get 1 life for free. So let's not use Enel. That's not really a fair example. But when it comes to the other dual color leaders, like look at this, guys. Look at the list on the left here. So this is how ranked looks right now in OP0 8.5 in the West. Smoker, That's a monocolored leader, 5 life leader. Enel, we already talked about that. Bonnie, 5 life. Now, Luffy's very different as well. And maybe yellow has the way to work around being at 4 life, because Luffy is going to be at least at like 6 life or more, right? Because they're going to gain life multiple times a turn, or excuse me, multiple times a game potentially. And maybe that's the workaround for yellow, but we'll talk about some other stuff in a minute. You know, bear with me, hang on 1 second. Dofi, 5 life leader. Lucci, 5 life leader. Luffy, 5 life leader. Katakuri, Nami, purple Luffy. Every single card, or excuse me, every single leader in the top 10 right now is a 5 life leader. Every one of them. And there have only ever really been 3 exceptions that I would say. Technically 4 if you want to count Reiju. But there's really only ever been 4 major exemptions to the rule or the idea that I'm talking about. Where like a multicolored leader was able to like be very successful. Sakazuki. Red Purple Law. Red Green Law. Red Green Law was insane. That probably deserves its own video. The amount of value that it can generate is just outrageous, right? But those 3, and then technically, like I said, I think you could consider Reiju up there as well. But generally speaking, it's very hard for multicolor 4 life leaders to compete. Even my favorite deck right now, Red Yellow Sabo, I think it can compete, even though like you don't see that on the list, do you? Now, I'm not saying it's a bad deck, because notice also Red Blue Marco shows up all the way over here on the right, and it looks like that's struggling against most decks in the format, but still. You look at these dual-colored leaders, and here's the issue. The issue that at least in my opinion, I think the issue is the fact that that is 1 extra swing that a 5 life leader can take, and therefore 1 extra attack they can ignore and card they draw. Right? Think about what happens when you attack into your opponent, right? There's only 3 things that can happen, right? When you attack into your leader's life directly, they can either give you a card from hand, like by countering out, take the hit, so they draw the card, or block it. So those are the only 3 possibilities, right? Either counter out, take the hit, or block it. That's it. Assuming the hit, is big enough to attack them, right? So if that's the case, then, going down to 4 life is extremely, extremely taxing over the course of the game, because that's 1 less life I get to have. That's 1 less attack I get to take, 1 less card I get to draw, or 1 last, life that I can ignore, right? Like a hit that I can ignore. So I might have already said that, but y'all know what I'm trying to say. The point is, I think it's an absolutely devastating cost, and the only time we've ever really seen a dual-colored leader actually be able to succeed in One Piece is when the leader effect is so powerful. Usually in combination with bottom decking, guys. I don't think... Guys, hang on, real quick. I do not think it is a coincidence that the 2 leaders that are banned currently are both 4 life leaders that have extremely powerful or at least useful leader effects, and their main form of removal is bottom decking. We will talk about bottom decking in a future topic of the day, but guys, bottom decking is an insane form of removal that gets around almost all forms of evasion. But again, that's for another topic, for another day, a topic of the day on another day. But back to what we're saying here. I really want to know what you guys think. I'm going to give my idea real quick on this. I'm not saying Bandai's going to do this. Please understand right away. The stuff we talk about in these topic of the days, we're just kind of getting things off our chest, seeing how everybody feels about a subject or about a topic, where we can maybe hear about some really cool ideas people have to combat if it's a good thing or a bad thing, or if they, whatever. We're just brainstorming. We're just thinking outside of the box. But here's the way that I think that Bandai should deal or attempt to deal with the 4 life issue. Because a lot of people think it's like, well, yeah, but they're getting access to 2 colors. Like, that's really strong, because now they have access to 2 colors. However, here's where I don't really think it's as big of a deal as people might think. I don't think it's as big of an advantage as people might think. Because ultimately, like at the end of the day, you can only have 50 cards in your deck. Right? And when it comes to One Piece, there is no resource issues. You just get your 2 Dawn every turn, right? If you go first, you're on the odd curve. If you go second, you're on the even one. But after turn 1, you're getting 2 Dawn every single turn, no matter who you are. So I think because of that, I think forcing dual color leaders down to 4 life is almost too much for them to deal with. And this is one of the original issues I had with game design and balance when I first got into the game. Because even for certain leaders who are trying to gain life, like Red Yellow Sabo, Or Black Yellow Linland. That was like my original go-to. That was my original favorite deck. I thought that leader was so cool, and I loved gaining life and all that good stuff. But what ended up happening is now I'm having to pay 4 Dawn a turn just to try to keep up. So there goes my development for the turn, because I had to start gaining life or I'd lose the game against like a 5-life leader, right? If they're a 5-life leader and I'm a 4-life leader, well, if I can't keep up the tempo, I'm just constantly on the back foot. I'm trying to claw myself back into the game. And every now and then you can, right? If you get a good trigger, or if your opponent just bricks, you know, but that's not really what you want to go off of, right? You want to go off like, okay, I had a good game, they had a good game, we'll just see who wins. Even though it happens, you know, that's not really what you want to base any data off of, right? So anyway, I'm very curious to hear what you guys have to say, because if some people might be like, oh, that's not really an issue. If you don't think it's an issue, how do you explain this 1 through 10 we see on the board right here for how things are going? And I think if you look around, the same thing is pretty much true. Like I said, Red Purple Luffy is very different because he's not a 5,000 power leader. That adds an entire different conversation. Just like what we had to do with what's his name, 6 life, 6,000 power Newgate. That was a nightmare situation. From a design standpoint, I don't know how that card got like the go ahead and all that good stuff. Now, we have since caught up to Newgate and Power, but man, that was crazy back in the day, guys. Back in OP03 and 4, and even when it first came out, OP02, but that whole little stretch was rough. So notice what we're seeing on the left here, guys. You're pretty much only going to see a few things. With a few exceptions, it's going to be either a 5-life leader or a leader that can gain life. Okay, that's it. And then the 6,000 power leader, like I said. Okay, notice this, guys. Whenever you see just the single strip of color, that means it's just a monocolor leader has 5 life. Okay, Yamato, this is interesting at a 5-0. Like I said, there's going to be a few exceptions. Yellow's always very interesting. We'll look at that list in a minute. Perona, now this is an outrageously powerful leader effect, especially in combination with Gecko Moria and Ryuma. So I get what's going on here, but still, you know, this list is clearly not just popping off. Purple Black Luffy is interesting as well because it's ramping Dawn and it's doing things. And we're going to get into the ways that I think we should fix it going forward. I teased y'all earlier. We're going to talk about that in a second, because I want to talk about how they could balance it for each color. Okay, so bear with me. Okay, so going down again, Purple Yellow Robin's interesting because that actually gains life. And that's it, guys. Just nothing but 5-life leaders with like really just 2 exceptions. 3. Perona, Robin gains life. I don't like using the yellow examples, but Perona, where was the other one? I just saw it, guys. Yamato and Purple Black Luffy. And they're very rare exceptions. Notice what most of these decks are like 5-life leaders on the left, guys. Most of them are. So I think that, so hear me out. I think the only way that we can really get around this idea of, I think the 4-life leader is too much of a detriment unless the leader is so overtuned where it ends up getting banned, like what we saw with Red Purple Law and Blue Black Luffy. So I think that like the best way going forward, so I have 2 ideas. Number 1 is to fix things based on color. So in other words, if you have a 4-life dual color purple leader, I think it has to have very powerful ramp built in so that it can actually outpace your opponent. Even though you're at 4 life, you can get to 10 Dawn faster than them and start getting tempo back in that way. Because having the 4 life versus a 5-life leader, they're attacking into you so aggressively, you're always on the back foot, scared you're going to lose, having to play out blockers when you can no longer play out on curve. You see what I'm saying? Hopefully that makes sense. So for purple, I think it's going to have to do with Dawn ramping. Yellow has life gain. Okay, I will say right away, I think yellow has life gain, and I think that is pretty close to what they need to balance out dual color leaders in that color. Make sure they have some form of life gain. Red is very hard to say. I'm not sure. Red has rush cards. Maybe they'll have to work in something like that, or like severe power manipulation. You know, Marco is pretty cool how it had the top of deck. You know, you can, the leader effect from Marco allows you to do a lot of searching. But at the same time, like we're seeing, guys, if you look over on the graph right here, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. So Marco currently against the field. Dofi has a 65% win chance against Marco. Lucci has 70%. Black Yellow Luffy 55%. Enel is actually a pretty good matchup for Marco, it looks like. But Bonnie, 52%. Purple Luffy, 83%. The tempo is so severe. Katakuri, 71%. Again, insane tempo. 60% win rate for Smoker against Red Blue Marco. 100% win rate against Nami. I don't know how many games that was out of, but that's outrageous. And then Red Blue Marco actually has a very strong matchup into Luffy. So again, notice the high tempo decks, like for example, you know, Doflamingo. Lucci's not quite. Lucci's just extremely powerful control with a little bit of tempo. But then you look at Purple Luffy and Yellow Katakuri. and they're just kind of steamrolling these decks that are 4 life. It just kind of runs them over. It's hard to deal with. And actually, if you look over on the far right, this is kind of interesting. Oh, sorry, guys. My head was in the way of some of it. So, but you just check out the website. You'll be able to read it all there for yourself. But red purple Luffy right now has a negative win rate or a 50-50 win rate against every deck on here except purple Luffy. Look at that, guys. Whew, outrageous. You know, but again, I think that might change very soon. And okay, so I just thought of it, guys. I just thought of this on the spot. The way that they can help mitigate red dual color leaders is with ways to increase the power of the leader. I think that'd be a good way to deal with those. So purple with Dawn Ramp, yellow with life gain, red with power increase, green is really confusing. I'm not sure, because the only green combo decks that are doing well, like dual color decks that are doing well right now, Yamato always kind of hangs in there. Double attack, maybe that was the right thing for that. So instead of being like life gain for you, you're taking double life away from your leader or the opposing leader. That makes sense, or, you know, from the opponent. And then Arlong. But Arlong is very much a blitzy, rushy deck. I'm not exactly sure. Green's a hard one. That's a hard one to balance there. What else? For the decks that are running black, that's where we get into like what Sakazuki was doing. Sakazuki just had the cost reduction built into every single attack. But it also had it could also cycle cards very aggressively. So maybe something to do with like kind of how Lucci is, where it can do cost reduction and fill up the trash. And then last but not least, what was the last one? Blue. Blue's got to have some type of cycle effect as well, or it's setting the top card like what they have with Marco. But again, will that be enough? Now, that was my first idea, was whatever color you're comboed with, have some type of amplified effect from that color, or do what Perona did. Guys, I'm sorry I'm all over the place right now, but this is a very complex thing to talk about, this issue. Hang on one second, guys. I want to show y'all how they dealt with Perona. I think this might be one of the best ways to go moving forward as well with the dual colored leaders. If they're going to have 4 life, then I think their activate main effect needs to be a choose one that is a very powerful effect from each color. And if you think about, like, let me go to Law. Let me see if that's still in the sim. They might have removed it. No, it's still in here. Okay. Red, purple, Law. Notice how this is a combination of purple with the Dawn -3 and bottom decking, and then also with red with the 3000 power, power manipulation aspect. So you're kind of comboing your 2 effects together in a very strong way. And that helps make this leader insane, right? Cheating out a body. So we'll just call that as part of the purple package with the Dawn -3, and then the red, power manipulation part, that's like with red. So that makes a lot of sense. Now with red, green, Law, this effect here is just insane. Make sure and pause and read this if you don't know what it does, if you're a newer player. This is allowing you to cheat out characters that, you're paying 2 to play a 5-cost character. So maybe that's how they deal with it for green. If you're trying to catch green up, if it's not going to be something like Perona that we just saw where you're tapping down a character based on their cost, maybe it needs to be something to do with ramping out characters for a cheaper discount. And I know that's mainly with Trafalgar Law. I do understand, guys. I know that's tied with the lore, tied with the actual game, or excuse me, the anime itself. But it makes sense. It makes sense for green to have some type of discount attached to it. Because as is, guys, if you look at, let's just bring up all the leaders real quick. Don't worry, it takes just a second for this to come up. If you look at all the leaders in the game currently, one thing I think you'll probably notice is only monocolor 5-life leaders win, unless we start dealing with like extreme exceptions like NL, where this is like at least a 4-life leader, right? This leader is bare minimum 4-life. And that's just kind of how it is, unless you start venturing into the effects that are absolutely insane. Like what we saw with... Now, some people say like, okay, no, the color combination of Sakazuki is what was so strong. Okay, well, if that were the case, then why aren't people breaking this card? It had, I mean, yes, blue and black is a very powerful color combination. I can't wait to see what Usopp does. I can't wait to, spoiler warning, guys, sorry, OP10, Usopp's coming out soon, well in the East. We're like 6 months away in the West. But Rebecca couldn't attack. I understand people saying, oh, okay, don't use Rebecca as an example. That's being very fair, because Rebecca is doing something totally, totally different. But if you look at, like, okay, this leader was insane. And I think it was insane because every single turn, you were fixing your hand while filling up your trash and, doing -1 cost every single turn. a free -1 cost, just like what we see with Lucci, and fixing up your trash like with Lucci, and this was a 4-life leader. You know, but because it had access to blue, and they made so many good Navy searchable cards like Houndblaze, and even Gravity Blade Raging Tiger came out later. You know, I think that was around the end of Sakazuki, but still, you guys get my point. You had double searchers with Tashigi and Brand New. They just really made this leader pop off. But what I'm trying to say is this. This leader was very strong, right? Okay, well, here it is right here. If blue and black is so strong together, why not just carry it over? And then people will say, well, that leader effect is trash. Okay, but that's my point. And like, that's exactly my point. Because if this leader was broken because of how broken the cards were in the deck, well, then it'd be no problem to just go over to this leader and just use those same cards and be just fine. However, we know how strong this leader was. The fact that you're filling up your trash with all these different cards, and then whenever you swing, you're Dawn -1ing as well. Or not Dawn -1, excuse me. You're causing -1 cost to a character as well. It's just so much value, guys. It's so powerful. And we already talked about red-purple law a little bit. So the way that I think going forward, this is just my opinion. So just to give so whenever I come up with these topics of the day, at the very end, after hashing out my ideas to the best of my ability, I want to try and give like what I think would be a good fix for it. Number one is what we just saw with Perona. I keep wanting to bring that up because I think they did an incredible job with Perona. Where I don't even know where it is, guys. It's right here. It is. This is awesome. Okay. I get to choose one of two effects a turn, so it's not broken like Sakazuki, you know, like where Sakazuki can just do both effects every single turn. That, for those who might not have been following this channel back then, the way that I recommended they fix this leader is make us choose once per turn, and I think that would have actually done quite a bit. I think that would have changed it a lot, because not getting to do the draw one, trash one, and the Dawn -1, I keep saying Dawn -1, guys. I'm sorry. The cost reduction, I think that would have been a massive deal. Now, there's other things they could have changed as well, but I think that would have really helped it. But here's where I think they finally learned their lesson, was with Perona, where it's like, okay, I want a really powerful green effect and a really powerful effect from black, and I want to be able to choose which one I want each turn. Just one, so it's balanced. And I think that does help quite a bit. Now, it also helps that this leader has access to Gecko Moria and an entire package built around Gecko Moria, like how perfect Ryuma is in it, and it combos with Land of Wano. This leader has a lot going on for it. But that's the first thing I think they should have done for the dual color leaders. And now for the second thing. I've been teasing y'all this entire time. This is like my main idea that I think they should have done. I think that what the life says at the bottom left, that's the life that they should have in cards, but then I think they should have 5 life altogether. So what do I mean by that? 4 life that are actual cards from the top of your deck, and then the very top life card I think should be a placeholder, almost like a shield card, like I think what we're seeing in isn't that what we're seeing in Gundam? There's a new game coming out by Bandai called Gundam TCG, and I'm not trying to bring too much over from that game, but I do like the idea of, in that game, they kind of have a system with resources where they have like this, the person who goes second gets an extra resource every single game, and it's a once per turn use resource so that they can catch up with the player who went first and get some momentum back and try to make it a fair game. And they might have a shield as well before they take their first hit. I'm not exactly sure. Don't quote me on that. I'll have to look more into it. But in this game, what I'm trying to suggest is, like, in the case of these dual color leaders, and I don't know how they'd implement it now, guys, just understand we're just brainstorming. I think having like 4 cards of life and then a 5th card that is actually just a placeholder life. So in other words, when you take that hit, you do lose that placeholder life, but you don't draw a card. It was just there so that it's an even playing field, 5 versus 5 life. And I think everything should be built around that for the most part. I know it's too late, given the, given how some of these cards are now. Like, let me find, where's good old red purple Luffy? Here he is. Like, I don't know how they balance it with 6,000 power leaders, guys. And the same thing with Vegapunk. I don't know how in the world they'd balance it with this, because I'm not saying he should have 2 life, and then they give him 3, 3 blank lives, right? Or blank lives. I'm just saying that I think that's what they probably should have done from a design standpoint. Hopefully that made sense, guys. And eventually we will talk about leaders that cannot attack, but that's for another day. That's going to be a topic for another day. All right, so tell me what you guys think, guys. Again, do you guys think it's balanced currently with the multicolored leaders? Let me go back to the slide, or not the slide, but when you look at the stats here on the left, guys, do you guys think it is completely balanced right now, how 4 life dual color leaders are? Because, yeah, they get access to a second color, but at the end of the day, every color has access to their searchers, or every type does, I should say, which is, in every color. And they all are going to run the same package roughly, where it's like they have this many, utility cards, this many cards that do this, that, and the other, and this many 2K counters. Everyone's going to run roughly the same. And because color identity is not like insanely, I got to watch the way I say this. I don't think color identity is done perfectly in this game, where there's a lot of carryover from other colors, right? Like, for example, every deck is now starting to see ways to rush. Every deck is starting to see ways now to flood the board. And I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing, but because there's so much spillover, having that extra color almost doesn't matter. Do you see what I'm saying? Or at least in my opinion, it doesn't. Do you guys think it does? That's why I'm going to end this portion of the video. You guys tell me what y'all think. Do you think the dual color leaders are in the right spot with their life? Or do you think the life is the problem? Or do you think something else is the problem? Because every time we see a good multicolor leader, it feels like it gets banned. Now, Black Yellow Luffy's, maybe that's the exception. Who knows? But again, I want to know what y'all think. And what did y'all think of my idea about starting off 4 life leaders with a blank life card? Just a blank life token, whatever you want to call it, where it's like they can take that one hit, and if they take that hit, it's gone. Now they're down to 4 life. There's nothing to draw. It's just a blank life token, like a free life, right? A get out of jail free card that one time. And the way they could go around is like, well, what if they start gaining life? Well, they could print it on that little life token where if you were to gain life, it takes the place of this one. So they can't just like start gaining life with that free one still on top. But anyway, that's something to think about. You guys tell me what y'all think. Okay, moving on. That was a lot to talk about, guys. That was a lot to talk about. Okay, so now we're going over. Let's start finishing out this video. We got 3 games on the sim to talk about. First one up is going to be green yellow Arlong. Whoops, I adjusted my camera before going full screen. There we go. Rookie mistake. Okay, let's get into these games. I've been ranting for so long. Yeah, okay, wow, this video is going long. So let me go volume off, speed 2x, and here we go. So first up, we got a game of green yellow Arlong versus red blue Vivi. Guys, Arlong just pumps. Like this deck goes fast. It goes face, and it has so much aggression. And then when you want to start saving when you want to start attacking enemy, you either refilling my hand or just putting a card straight to the board. So, all right, swinging for 5 here. Swinging for 5, and guess what we're going to play out? Good old 5-cost Nami. You guessed it. I'm still developing a body. I'm still attacking, getting cards out of their hand or cards from life. I'm going to pop that character. I got rid of the Chew in that situation because I feel like that's the least relevant card out of all the cards in my hand. Like, Bonnie could potentially draw me cards. 2K counter and Frankie. Banish on Onami. And Kikinojo is just a really strong card. So we're going to swing for 5 a lot. Right? Actually, excuse me. They did lock down one of my attacks. So we're going to swing for 7. Cheat out the Kikinojo. They do 2K to get out of that. Wow, they were desperate to get out of that. They don't want to give me a draw 2 trash one, and I agree. They're correct. 8 on turn. This is very scary. There's Pell. This is going to be nasty here. Swinging for 7 into my Nami, popping my Bonnie. That was an extremely high tempo play from the Vivi. They're going to smash in here. I get a Karubi trigger. Oh, man, I don't want to use it, though. I'm really debating using this. I don't think I should. I don't remember if I do or not. Okay, I choose not to. Now it's my turn. Okay, Arlong in this deck, or excuse me, against Vivi is not very good because it can only hit a leader, I believe. If I remember correctly, Arlong can only hit a leader. However, I can still cheat that out for 7, or for 3, like with my 7K attack from Arlong, and then I can develop something else as well. Okay, 7. So I've determined we need to go face. Because if the game goes on, remember, Nefeltari Vivi gets a free draw every turn, and they're a dual color leader, right? The leader cannot attack, but they get 5 life to compensate, and they can give characters rush with their leader effect, and they draw a card with it. So that's that's potentially very powerful. Again, I don't want to talk too much about Nefeltari Vivi in general. I want to save that for another day as a topic of the day. So I'm swinging 11 into 8 here, cheating out the Arlong. If they counter out, it would take 2 2K counters, and that's all they had for that turn. They only had 2 cards in hand, and who's to say they even have that? Okay, they're going to play out Walpole. This card's very annoying, and I can't just keep attacking into the board because I'm not going to win like that. I have to start chasing the win here. Now, they swung in there. I didn't get to gain a life because they were at 4 life. Kikinojo's trigger does not work, and neither does her effect if your opponent has more than 3 life, if they have 4 or more life. Okay, so we're going to smash in for 7. Like I said, I have to start getting aggressive here or I have no chance. So we're going to swing for 7. We'll swing for 7 more, cheating out a Sanji. Cheat out another Sanji. I've got 2 blockers. They're at 1 life. I really need to survive here, or excuse me, I really need to keep the heat on here, because I'm not going to survive over the course of this game. That Wapole is going to start bullying my board really badly. Okay, playing out Boa. I don't think that was the right call, locking down my my Neko Mamushi, because they could easily just get rid of my Neko. Actually, no, they can't get rid of Neko Mamushi, can they? Because they only have one legitimate attack, because they used all 10 Dawn that turn. They couldn't use their leader effect. Okay. But right here, guys, I mean, I'm about to swing 7 a lot of times. Now, I can't swing with the Neko Mamushi, because they just used their leader effect. So right here, we're going to go swing for 9, and I think we're just going to risk it. I think you just swing for 9 here, and go for it. I might choose to go 8 and then 11, maybe. Yep. So we're going to choose to go for 8 here, and he goes through. So now I think you just load everything up and swing in for 10. Okay, almost. They got to 8. That was a good game. That was a fun one. Arlong is still very fun to play, guys. And notice from my life, I had Chu, Satori, and Hatchan coming out. So that was going to be pretty aggressive. Okay, now let's go over to the game versus Pudding. Okay, volume's off. Speed is on 2x, and we're good to go. This is still a very fun deck, guys. Okay, that was like the worst pull ever, I think, that I could have gotten, because I think I mulliganed. I am running 2 of that 10 cost card, and they're both in my hand right now. So that was less than ideal. That was absolutely less than ideal. Okay, so the Pudding, we do a top 5 search. I think, I can't remember, we got either the 2K counter Flampe, or we got the 6 cost Katakuri, I believe. They're going to swing in for 6. We don't want to go too low in life against this guy here, against Zooro. No turn 2 play. That's odd. They swung for 6 and didn't play anything out. I'm not upset about it. We'll take it. We'll swing for 6. They 2K counter out. We'll play out the Parasparrow. I do still play Parasparrow, the yellow 3 cost that searches in my deck, because I think it's a good tempo play, and every now and then you'll hit this as a trigger, and it's disgusting. Like, it like helps you push for lethal when you need it. And it's another card for them to attack into. Any kind of distraction you can present to your opponent for Purple-Yellow Pudding, we'll take it every time. Okay, so that was an odd play, I have to say. That was a very odd play, and they're taking a lot of time. They're choosing not to attack. Speed is 2x. I had to check real quick, guys. They're choosing not to attack. Well, guess what? I'm going to attack every single time. They didn't want to give me the Parasparrow, and they also didn't want me to use my Katakuri, the 6-cost purple Katakuri, to ramp up to 10 Dawn for the following turn. So now we're only going to be able to get to 8 Dawn. But guys, I'm still going to do that, right? I'm still going to ramp here. I should have actually, they took it either way, but I should have played out the Katakuri first and then swung for 7. Oh, excuse me, never mind. Hey, apparently I know what I'm doing, guys. Every now and then I know what I'm doing. I play out the Pudding, do a top search, we get a 2K counter, or actually, what did we get there? We got the, yeah, the 2K counter, because we have a 10 Lin in our hand already. Excellent, and we'll be on 9 Dawn next turn, I believe. Actually, I think we're going to be on 10 Dawn. That's the weird part. So, I think we're going to be on 10 Dawn next turn. So, I don't know why they wouldn't attack the turn before. Maybe they were just trying not to give me the Parasparrow. Because guess what? The Parasparrow is still there. You have to attack at some point. And if they attack into my 3 cost that's on the board, you can have that thing. Yeah, that thing is literally just going to do a top 3 search for me now. That's one of my favorite cards there. That 3 cost Parasparrow, like for the yellow Big Mom Pirates engine. I just think it was such a really cool designed card. It's like, it's just meant to attack, right? 3 cost 5K, trigger, you can play it right away from your life. It's just meant to attack. And then when they finally do decide they've had enough with it, where they're going to get rid of it, top 3 search, we'll take it. We'll take it every time. Okay, let's see what they decide to do here. They're going at face here. That concerns me a little bit. Like, I don't like that. We do not like that. So swing for 6. I have to take this. I have no choice. We're gonna. Hey, finally getting some use from that 10 cost Kaido Linlin, right? We can trash that with the Charlotte Parasparrow's effect. Okay, we're up to 10 Dawn, and I think it's time to start dropping 10 Lins, guys. We'll swing 5 into 5 here. I'm going to swing every single attack into this chopper. Every single attack. I don't know what just happened there. Hang on. What just happened? So they only 1K countered out, and it didn't save it. So that was just a play mistake. They should have 2K countered. Okay, then we're going to swing for 5 more. Let's see if they take this. That's a little scary taking that, guys, because I'm about to drop a 10 Lin on them here. Going to replace a Pudding with a 10 Lin. Every time. Every time we're going to do that. Yep, they're down to 0 life. We're up to 4. We have 5 relevant attacks coming across the board next turn. When I say relevant attacks, by the way, for any of the newer players, I mean 5,000 power or higher attacks. Okay, going to play this guy out. Hey, be my guest. He's going to attack into me. Sure. But how are you going to survive the crackback? That's my question. That's the scary part for this guy. Okay, we get another Linlin there. Okay, we still almost lost, guys. We still almost lost there. So now they were going to probably swing for 5 with the Nami. I guess they should have swung for 5 with Nami first, but I would have gotten out of it either way. They play out the Kureha. Now they're going to do a top search. They search up a 2K counter Hiking Bear, I believe. And here we go. It's time to just swing in with every single card. We'll go in for 7s here. I think we're just going to go 7, 7, 7, 7, 12 or whatever. Yeah, GG. So there's like no way out of that. Even if they played out the Shut Up and Come With Us event and they get a blocker from it, they're just not getting out of the rest of the attacks, right? Now, they had a Diable Jambe in hand, guys, so if we didn't start cleaning it up, they were going to start really pummeling us at that point. All right, we got one more game, guys, of yellow, not green-yellow, but yellow Yamato. This is a leader that does not see a lot of play. Now, we do have to talk about that. Let me go volume, volume is off, speed 2x. My biggest problem with this leader is I feel like it doesn't have a lot of support. Yes, there's a lot of yellow Land of Wano cards, but hey, any leader can run those. None of those cards are really type blocked that I'm aware of. And if you're going to run any form of yellow Yamato, just run green-yellow. Hang on, I messed that up. If you're going to run any version of yellow Land of Wano, just run green-yellow Yamato, and then you get access to the green Searcher Momonosuke and all that good stuff. So hopefully they give yellow a Searcher in the not-so-distant future. In fact, they might. They might have already done that. Or they might be doing that for OP10 if I remember correctly, or I might be off. Don't quote me on that. So they're going to swing in for 5. They do reveal the top card of their life to pop. So we're playing against a Kyros, guys. That leader says reveal the top card of your life and then pop a character with 0 power. So they Ice Aged my Sanji to pop it with the leader effect, revealing their top life card, and it's a Gecko Moria. They swing in for 5, and we get out of that. Or is that what happened? Hang on a second, guys. We got to double check real quick. Yes, that's exactly what happened. So they go ahead and do that. So -5, like I said, pop it, play out the Kuzan. They're going to swing for 5. Let's see what happens. I think we take this one. Get a Gadatsu seems good. Now, unfortunately, they're at 3 life. That Gadatsu could have been really nice here. Now, we still have a Nami. We can still get rid of this guy if we need to. We're going to swing for 6. They give us a 2K counter. Nami, absolutely incredible. That's a staple in yellow now. That 5-cost Nami is an absolute staple in yellow. Okay, now, because they did not counter out. Oh, nice. Very nice. Hang on. So let me finish what I was going to say there. I was going to say, because they countered out, now they can't use their leader effect because you do have to reveal the top card of your life in order to do the KO effect on a 0-cost character. But they have the 2-cost Sanji in play. The 2-cost Sanji, it's a 2K counter, but it's a 2-cost 3K with a 2K counter on it that has a Dawn ×2 when attacking, draw the top card of your life, and then put the top card of your deck to your life. So it's literally just a card draw effect. You're not actually like, it's not a cycle. I guess technically you're cycling the card out of your life, but it's a straight-up card advantage, card draw effect. Very, very powerful. And great synergy with Kyros. I really like that. Okay, we do get a draw 2 trash 1 effect with the Bonnie there. We're going to trash one of our 0-cost events. And now they have 5 Dawn left for the turn. And now they have 3 Dawn left. They're going to swing for 7. Honestly, there might be a reason to take that there. I don't think it would have been unheard of to take that. They're going to -1 there. They can't get rid of my Nami. That's a good thing for us. We'll take it. Now we get more bodies to attack with. We'll go 5 into 3. He lets it go. If he had not let it go, we'd just keep going into it with the Yamato. It would have cost at least 4 cards out of his hand to save that. And then actually, then he'd have never saved it because we'd have just Nami'd it if we need to. Another 5-cost Nami, eating up cards. And did that time, I think I might have been able to draw a card. Hang on a second. Yeah, play that out. KO. I trashed the card, and since I went down to 3 cards in hand, I was able to draw that Nekomamushi. It was a nice cycle effect. Okay, 9 Dawn. What are they going to play? I have no idea. Kyros is a very off-meta deck. We are going to save that card, or try to. They're going to play out a Gecko Moria, and they get a Kuzan and a Hiyori. Very nice. So they're going to be able to set their top life card to whatever they want, maybe a trigger. And if the life card was already face up, then they could have fixed it and put it face down to get more effects from their leader, like if they had enough Dawn this turn and enough cost reduction. Okay, so we're going to pop the Kuzan. I don't want that card on the board. We pop the Kuzan with the Yamato 9 cost, then we're going to swing 5, swing 5, swing 6. And now we have a Dawn attached to our leader. So if we go down to 2 or less Dawn, or 2 or less life, our leader will be 6,000 power on our opponent's turn. And that is the only effect that this leader has. And I think that's another reason why this leader doesn't see a lot of play. The leader's effect is very mediocre. I don't want to say anything like too negative, but I wish it did a little more. Okay, they clean up my board very nicely with the Namis there. They play out some Gecko Morias, and they're just getting tons of value, guys. It seems good. Okay, let's see what they decide to play out. Viola. See, that's another card that helps them turn their life cards face down so they can get extra mileage from their leader's effect. Okay. And Gecko Moria is just an incredible card, guys. We know what that does. We already know what that card does. But what are they going to do here? They are in some trouble. They are in a little bit of trouble. Nothing too crazy, but they're going to have to do something here soon. Okay, that's a good start, getting the Brook out, some form of removal. And here we go, guys. Let's see what we do here. They have a blocker, and they have 2 8 cost 9K bodies on the board. Okay. Excuse me. Yeah, I think we have to just keep going face, guys. I think we're on a clock. Like, if this guy goes on, there are very few cards in the game that can generate as much value as Gecko Moria, if there are any at all. Now, right here, I mean, I think swinging all out at a Gecko Moria would not be the worst thing in the world here. Swinging into the Brook, that removes KO and cost reduction. That's not a bad idea either. But I think, yeah, it looks like I'm trying to do the math here. I'm going to go 9 into 4, play out the Kikinojo, play out the Nekomamushi, and I'm kind of telling this guy, like, hey, you're up against the wall now. You're going to have to either remove my entire board, or you're going to have to somehow survive this next hit here. So he swings for 9 into 9. I'm just going to give it to him. I'm not going to give him the Satori. Like, I kind of want him to attack into my life so I can maybe get some triggers. Okay, we get the beige. That was not bad. Beige was definitely not bad there. All right, now that is. Right, that's pretty rough. KOing the Nekomamushi would have been the correct call there. Not KOing my Kikinojo. That just let me gain a life. Give me one more turn. So right here, we're going to play out the, I think we're going to play out the ace. Gain a life. We're at 4 life. Now what? What is he going to do now? Okay, if he's going to swing for 5, we're going to take it, guys. I'm not scared of him going all in on Viola here. Unless it gets to that point. Let's see what happens. Excuse me. Oof, that hurt. The double Kuzan hurts, guys. The double Kuzan does hurt a little bit, and now they can pop whatever they want to. Okay. Okay, pause. There is no way that was not a play mistake. So what they could have done there, they have their life cards face down, right? So they could have used their leader effect to pop my Kikinojo or my Nekomamushi. I think Nekomamushi would have been the better call, but just pop one of them. It doesn't matter which one, just pop one of them. Okay? Like I said, preferably the Nekomamushi. But now, okay, you're not going to do that for literally for no reason, right? It was a free KO on their leader effect. Okay, well, I'm going to try to win the game then. Like, that's my only chance. I have to go 7-7-7 here and hope for the best. And guys, sometimes that's what happens. Sometimes you get lucky with that. Other times you don't. They only had 7K to try to get out of that. And that should be a wrap here. Let's see what happens here. Again, guys, not removing that one character was a blunder. It was just an absolute blunder. Now, I would have, if they had, if they had removed it, then I was just going to have to play out one of these other guys. But look what they had coming, guys. That Yamato was going to be insane. Yamato was going to be a pop any character in the game because they have 2 Kuzans down, and then gain a life if they're at 1 or less life. Yeah, that would have been a nightmare. So, guys, make sure you take... This goes back to what we were looking at with the VV Lab for today. If you see the opportunity, you need to take it. Don't miss your opportunity. There, that should be, moral of today's story, or, of the lesson for the day is do not miss your opportunity, guys. Do not miss that opportunity when it comes up. Okay, now, let's go ahead and check out the deck list. We'll go ahead and finish off in this way. So this is the Yamato list I was running. I don't know how to build this leader, guys. Like I said, I think we need a yellow Land of Wano searcher, and then maybe we can do something with that. But until then, I have no idea how we're supposed to build this leader. It's Land of Wano, so I did have like Yamato in here. I did have Kikinojo, Nekomamushi, Momonosuke. I had a lot of ways to get cards to life. I should add Hiyori at this rate as well. But let me see something. 4 beige. 4 Satori. Yeah, I think I'm only running 8 2K counters. So maybe adding Hiyori would be really good in combination with the Momonosuke. But whatever the case is, I do think this leader is really cool. I just wish it had more of an effect. Like, I feel like that effect is not powerful enough. And it's basically turned off until the very end of the game. And then it becomes a plus 1,000 buff. I don't know. I'm not trying to say it's a bad effect, but I feel like I wish it did a little more. You guys tell me what y'all think about this leader, guys. This is I'll run through the list real quick, and then we'll move on to the next one. But we're running 2 Katakuris, 4 beige, 4 Sanji, 4 Yamato, 4 Gadatsu, 4 Satori, 4 Kikinojo, 4 Momonosuke, 4 Nekomamushi, 4 Ace, 4 Bonnie, 4 Nami, and 4 You're the One Who Should Disappear. It ran pretty well. I only put this game into it, I think, and maybe one other one, I can't remember. But it makes me sad, guys, when a leader doesn't have any kind of crazy effect, because that's kind of what makes me want to play a deck, right? It's like, okay, man, I want to play Red Yellow Sabo because I can like pull this card back into my life, buff this guy, and do all this crazy stuff, right? But with this leader, there's not a whole lot you can do, unfortunately. Okay, let's check out Arlong. This list has not changed unless you haven't seen it in a while. This is the current list that I recommend. Let me get rid of all this stuff down here. It's all distracting. This is the current list that I recommend for Arlong. Make it your own, though, guys. Even though I recommend a list, like, you should still try to make the list your own. Like, try to make it something you really enjoy. Like, oh, you don't like, say, oh, I don't really like this card, Killer. Okay, well, trash, get rid of it and put something there you like. You know what I mean? Like, make the list your own. But I think the core here of, like, just the super heavy trigger package, the Nami was something I added recently. Guys, this card is so good. It's just so good. I don't know how else to say it. And if you're going to be running yellow, at least run the advantages that yellow has, right? Like, if you're going to be running decks that run black, you're going to run the cards that black has advantages with. You know, really powerful black cards, like whether it be Gecko, Jack, any of the cost reduction, and KO stuff, right? And like Sabo and Rebecca, Trash Recursion. Like, play the cards that are good in that color. And guys, Nami is like probably the best 5-cost yellow card in the game, maybe. I don't know. Maybe that was a crazy statement. Don't quote me on it. But that one... This card's insane, guys. The card's absolutely insane. Not trying to say it's broken. If Bandai's listening, no, this card's great. We got to keep this. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, so Arlong's doing really well. And then last but not least, what was the other one? Purple Yellow Pudding. Purple Yellow Pudding. It was this Purple Yellow Pudding Z deck that I came out with here. Notice I was only running 2 Kaido and Linlins, and I got them both in my opening hand. That was unfortunate, but hey, that's one of the nice things about running the Charlotte Parasparrow. We'll just trash the card later and, get some value from it, or... You're the One Who Should Disappear. We can use this. And, yeah, it'd be nice if I had one more way to cycle in here. Maybe add the 5-cost Queen or something like that. But other than that, I mean, I don't expect to see 2 every game. I think that was pretty unlikely, but it happens. So, that's it, guys. I'm done yapping, man. I'm not even... I read out the first list all the way. Didn't even read out the full Arlong list. I'll have the decks down in the comment section below, guys, if you want to check those out. Okay? So let's go ahead and hop over to the playmat page here, guys. Thank you to everybody who supports the channel. Got some new names on here. Thank you guys so much. Hope you're all enjoying the playmats. Guys, if anyone out there who is liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, viewing my stuff, thank you so much, guys. It really helps the channel grow. It helps the algorithm and all that good stuff. Thank you so much. And, of course, thank you again to the people who bought the playmats, supporting me in that way. And last but not least, the patrons, the VV Pirates patron page here. Thank you to everybody on this list who's just donating to try and help me out and help keep the channel going, help keeping the dream alive, as I like to say. So, all right, that's it, guys. Hope y'all enjoyed. Please do not forget to like and subscribe. I really want to hear what y'all have to say about the topic of the day. Are 4-life leaders where they need to be, or what maybe should be done to help balance out what they do? Or excuse me, help balance them out so that they can keep up with the monocolored 5-life leaders. Okay? All right, guys. Till next time. Peace.